Hey movie fans, I hope you are all well. Board now back with you, and today I thought I'd do a shorter news video. So this is going to be mainly focused on the news that has come out in the last 24 hours, and that is of course of the new Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, which Paramount are going to be producing. Open it up to you guys also and see what you think about the prospect of a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The source is bloody disgusting. It's been 16 years since Freddy Krueger was last seen in Nightmare on Elm Street Reboot movie, which came out in 2010, starring Jackie L. Harley, everyone's favourite Freddy, right? With complicated rights issues playing a role in the franchise's complete and total silence over the past several years. Friday the 13th fans probably have it even worse, don't they? To be honest. Paramount's genre label, Paramount Primal? Who came up with that naff title, is behind the upcoming franchise reboot, with the US rights being licensed from the Craven estate, including his widow Lila LaBocca and Craven's son Jonathan Craven. I hope I didn't butcher his widow's name. The duo will produce the new iteration with Mark Toberoff, who's an attorney turned producer who specialises in copyright law. So there you have it. And a name I have to be careful with, J.D. Lufschutz and Raphael Mogos will executive produce for Paramount Primal. A statement reads, "We look forward to bringing the world of Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street to a new and completely engaged generation of fans." You can already hear the buzzwords coming in. The Booker said in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, "We know that Wes would have been thrilled to see how horror is taking its long overdue place in the cultural canon. We can't wait for all of us to sit together in a dark theatre around the campfire of today as the nightmare story unfolds." Now that quote really gives me warm and fuzzy feelings. I'm not sure about you guys. The Elm Street franchise had previously been owned by New Line Cinema, as many of you will know, but the Craven estate was able to regain rights to the original screenplay, and that's going to be important with something I'm going to bring up in a moment. Hollywood Reporter notes that New Line retains the international rights to Nightmare. I'm guessing this won't make a difference to the cinema release. It's possible that the release dates might be 1 or 2 weeks apart, but nowadays I think we are getting a bit back on an even keel where a lot of American movies and a lot of horror movies are getting released in cinemas in the UK and the US and other territories pretty much on the same day. Probably might change where the movie ends up when it hits streaming. I don't know how it affects the DVD releases, but that's to wait and see, I guess. One way or the other, it's a big enough name, a big enough franchise, and somehow they'll figure all this stuff out, you would hope. No details yet of the story other than a line from the same article which says it will be set in the world of A Nightmare on Elm Street, based on the original screenplay. Now let's speculate about what this line could mean, because it could mean so many different things. It could mean they are planning a remake of the original, in which case I would say, what's the fucking point? The film is one of the greatest horror movies ever, and unless someone really hits it out of the park, it cannot be bettered, surely. Chances are they're going to try and make it a more modern movie, otherwise, what's the point? And that can be a tricky balancing act, as recent movies have found out. It's also possible they will try doing a mix of remake and soft reboot, which has definitely become a popular thing in the past 20 years. That reminds me a little bit of what the 2010 movie tried to do. I'm dreading it because everyone seems to hate it. And it's also a bit like what the Evil Dead 2013 movie did. It wasn't a complete remake. There was definitely nods to the original Evil Dead, and it definitely took quite a lot of things, but the characters were different and it was really a different setting. So it wasn't a complete remake. It was like a mix of a remake and a soft reboot, because it was the movie which was restarting the franchise after a long time. They of course might be referring to the recent Halloween movies, which stuck to the continuity of the original film but decided to ignore the sequels, almost like they didn't happen. What I have is a Nightmare sequel set after the original film. As long as it's good, that is maybe the best way to go. If they introduce a new final girl and she catches on, there's no reason she couldn't return for a potential sequel. With this being a modern horror film likely to play on nostalgia, it wouldn't surprise me if we get a cameo from Heather Langenkamp. Question is, am I excited about a new Nightmare on Elm Street reboot? Well, I am, but with a number of caveats, and they're the normal sort of caveats. So first of all, we are due a new Nightmare film, and as I have said so often, a good slasher movie never goes out of style. It's been long enough that the fans will be hungry for more. Let's face it, everyone seems to hate Nightmare 2010, so we are all rooting for this film to be good and to kick that film into touch. Horror tends to thrive when you have exciting indie features making waves, a bit like now. But there's also room for big franchises to play their part. And that's one of the things about a few years ago when Scream made its comeback after quite a while. You also had the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. Regardless of what you think of some of those movies, it was quite exciting to have such big names of like franchise horror back in cinemas and back on the scene. But it was also mixed in. You did have some really exciting indie horror that was definitely shaking things up a bit and giving you new voices, new directors. So it was a happy sort of medium. At this point, we don't really have any details, any major details of what it's going to be like, what sort of movie are they going to make. So until we get those details, I can't really say too much anyway. It's a case of wait and see. But broadly, I'm excited for it. Like, I'm eager to see what it's going to be like. The main concern is that so many reboots / sequels / remakes of classic horror IPs tend to be disappointing and leave fans raging. With fans and the internet nowadays, you can almost guarantee that not everyone will be happy with the final film. Sure, there are gems and examples in other franchises like Batman and James Bond that have rejuvenated those characters and films, having been away for long enough to come back with a fresh take and a rebooted feel. But at this point, we are trained to expect the worst, and if it turns out good, hey, it's a bonus, a bit like following England at the World Cup. Yeah, I still don't think we're going to win it personally. We've got a chance without doubt, but after tonight, my pick has switched from France to Spain. If you get too excited and start predicting England will win the World Cup, chances are they won't. No details, we have nothing else to go on. The other big question is, should Robert Englund return to the role that made him a horror icon in 1984? In recent months, Englund has hinted that he would be willing to return to the Nightmare series one last time. Now, I wonder if this points to he probably will be cast and return as Freddy. It's just funny timing that he said it a few months ago, then he would definitely be up for doing Freddy again. And then it's a few months later they announced this reboot. So it definitely makes me think that maybe they've already decided then they want to cast Robert Englund. Maybe he's got wind of this, or he's had contact with the producers. So it's possible then that is already being put into motion. With other franchises dragging the original lead actor back for nostalgia pops, dividing audience is some feeling the characters were just there for a quick and pointless cameo. The movies portrayed the beloved characters. This is the problem when I'm reading off a script. Another issue is that when fans see the original actors years later as older versions of themselves, it doesn't always feel like the same person. This shouldn't be a problem in the case of Nightmare on Elm Street and Robert Englund as Freddy, because we are talking about a supernatural character, and also he will be under a ton of makeup, so that helps to hide his age. That's assuming they don't go for a cheap special effect instead of practical makeup, which sadly nowadays there's a good possibility they might. Of those reasons, I don't think it's a big deal, his age. Like, I don't think it will hinder his performance in the film or the perception of him as Freddy. So I'd love to see Englund return as Freddy. Tell me in the comments, would you like to see Englund return? Would you like to see Heather Langenkamp return? Or do you want to see another person play Freddy? Now, if you want to see another person, do you have someone in mind? Who would you like to see play Freddy Krueger, who you think could be a good Freddy in a new Nightmare on Elm Street? Are you excited for the new film? If there's any major updates, I'll probably do another one of these videos sometime in the future. Released the Spaceballs 2 poster. So Spaceballs 2 is releasing into cinemas next year. Spaceballs, the new one, which seems to be riffing off other spoof movies from the 80s and 90s, and also riffing off the title they gave to the Spinal Tap sequel, which came out last year, which was very enjoyable. I recommend that sequel. It was surprising just how good it was. So Spaceballs, the new one, is released by MGM/Amazon Studios in the US on April the 23rd, 2027. So I don't know if it'll get released in UK cinemas or other territories at the same time. Cast includes Bill Pullman, Mel Brooks, 100-year-old Mel Brooks, Rick Moranis, who has come out of retirement especially for this movie, Daphne Zunga, I'm never quite sure how you say her last name, but she's returning also, and Michael Winslow, who I didn't even realise was still alive, but he's reprising his role. So they're all reprising their roles from the original Spaceballs, and they are joined by Nope's Kiki Palmer, Lewis Pillman, Josh Gad, Liz Kingsman, Rowan Witt, and more. Gad is also one of 3 writers. The film is directed by Josh Greenbaum, and his previous movies, now this might be cause for concern, they all sound like comedy movies, but his previous movies include Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. Yeah, that sounds like a classic. Will and Harper, which I think was a Netflix movie, and Strays. Strays is the only one I've heard of. That's like a Will Ferrell movie where he's like voicing the dog, and I remember it coming out. I remember seeing the trailer, or at least seeing a clip of it, and it looked absolutely god awful. So I don't know if that's a bit of concern, then this director maybe doesn't have the best previous track record I've not seen any of his films, to be fair, but Strays did look like a terrible movie. I can't really comment on the other two. Josh Gad has done quite a lot of comedic parts as well, and him having a hand in the writing makes sense. It's him and then a couple of other writers. I'm excited because I grew up on the original Spaceballs, and it's one of my favourite comedy movies. It's just a film I've got a lot of nostalgia for. It's one of the best spoof movies I think I've seen. It's sort of top tier for me when it comes to Mel Brooks, and I watched it quite recently in the last few months, and I thought it held up pretty solidly. Probably if you're watching it now and you didn't see it at the time, then that would probably spoil your enjoyment, but to me, I still enjoy it. It's still one of my favourite comedies, and it always will be. So when I heard they were doing a sequel, I was like, okay, bring it on. Let's see what they can do. If it turns out not to be great, if it turns out to be a bit crap, at least I will always have the original. Keke Palmer, who I said was in Nope, I've seen her in one or two other things, but one thing about her character in Nope is that she does have really good comedic skills, and she's got a lot of personality and energy, and I think she was in the Beverly Hills Cop movie as well that came out a couple of years ago, so the Netflix one. Pretty sure she was in that. I think she might have played Axel Foley's daughter in that. But she was good in that as well. I think she's a good actress with a really good personality. And obviously Lewis Pillman is the son of Bill Pillman, so a little bit of a family connection there. He has been in other things, so it's not like they've just plucked him from nowhere. It's like, come and be in the movie because your father's in the movie. It's nice that they've got so many of the original cast back, and then you've got a mix of newer talent also. I'm actually surprised it's going into cinemas because it's an Amazon MGM movie. I just figured it would probably go straight to streaming. They must be quite confident that it's going to do okay. It's going to do decent enough. It sounds to me like a movie that's probably going to do better on streaming and home release. They might prove me wrong. Maybe they're just intending to have a short theatrical run and then quickly put it up on Amazon a couple of weeks later. Who knows? They may just wait to see how well it does. Not sure if it will, because it seems a bad time for comedy at the box office. Very few comedies are really doing any type of business when it comes to cinema release. The poster itself, it's an okay poster. It's a little bit lame, especially when you compare it to the original poster. There's a couple of different posters for the original, but they're a lot more eye-catching. I don't mind the desert effect, and I like that you've got the comb, which was a thing in the original movie, and it's kind of making the shape in the sand. But yeah, it's not a poster that really grabs me, but it does look pretty cool. It's not a terrible poster. I know posters from the past were much better and a lot more gone into it. This one looks fine, I would say, but I don't really love it. It's up there on the screen at the moment, so if you want to take a look and add any comments, what do you think of this poster? Does it grab you? Does it sell the movie? All the rest of it. So it's another movie where it's wait and see, but there's enough good talent involved, and there's enough of, we're bringing a lot of the original cast back. It's very exciting to see Rick Moranis come out of retirement for it. But then there's some fresher, younger talent involved also. It just comes down to the writing and the gags, as always with this kind of stuff. And you do wonder what they would do to update it. What sort of gags are they going to do? Are they going to try and really jump forward to the present day and kind of have gags about modern sci-fi, modern Star Wars, and some of the fans and some of the toxic fans bring that stuff in and be really meta, or are they just gonna play it like a little bit more straight and a little bit more safe with that? The original was so like low budget and so much of it was practical effects, and it just had a nice sort of retro look. Like, I think that just worked perfectly well. There's always the danger that they're going to go a little too crazy with the special effects, but really the big thing is the gags and the story and how they're going to update it. Let me know what you guys think about Spaceballs 2 or Spaceballs the new one, which is coming to cinemas next April. I've been getting behind on channel stuff in recent weeks. Sorry about that. I do have a batch of new reviews and new things on the way. I'm still streaming regularly. Next week, next Monday, I should be recording the Jaws review, and that will be with my mate Ray, who was on the channel a couple of times in October, so he's coming back to talk Jaws with me. And also his daughter should be dropping in for that review as well, so that'll be fun. Not sure if she'll be on for the whole review, but she should pop her head in and add a few comments, so it'll be nice to get a view from the younger generation. So you can expect that hopefully early next week. And I also have a bunch of movie reviews that I still need to get to. I still plan on doing a Supergirl review. Speaking of Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm still reviewing those movies on the channel. I also still have Scream 7 to review. I have seen the movie, I just need to get on to the review. So apologies that I've been getting a little bit behind on stuff, but I will try and catch up and do as much as I can. That me and Madison recorded a review of Backrooms. That's on public YouTube now, but channel members and patrons got that first. And you also notice that we did a deep dive into the new trend of YouTubers becoming horror movie directors, or directors in general, but seems to be more in the horror thing at the moment. So you can find that discussion on channel memberships now at every tier, and also on patreon.com/boardnow. So that's where you can find that discussion. Tomorrow, for channel members, I'm planning on watching Prom Night 2, because ages ago I did the first one, and so tomorrow night, exclusively for channel members, and that's at any tier, I will be watching Prom Night 2. So if you get that ready for tomorrow night. The only asterisk to that is it does depend on how long the England game goes for. Actually run through my list of channel members and also patrons. So thanks everyone for supporting the channel and taking an interest. So first of all, with channel memberships, now I think all of these are at the Getting Lost Like a Pro tier. Mine Noli, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Mine Noli. Also Ravflum, thank you for supporting the channel. Also Vanis Grupti, thank you very much for supporting the channel, Vanish. Also, Chris Owens is a channel member. Thank you, Chris. Appreciated. Reaper Kid, I like that name, Reaper Kid. Thank you for supporting the channel. My good friend Rachel McDonald. Thank you, as always, Rachel, for supporting the channel. Coffin Crew, which is a great name. Thank you, Coffin Crew, for supporting the channel. And I know Coffin Crew also has a channel which I follow. So if you aren't subbed to Coffin Crew's channel, then why not go and do it? Check out his stuff because it is a fun channel. Another channel member, J-Man, quite a long-standing channel member one way or the other. Thank you, J-Man or Jason, for your support as always. The Night Watch Zone is currently a channel member. Thank you, Night. The Soulcraft, that's quite a good name as well. Thank you, Soulcraft, for your support. Janet Norris, thank you, Janet, for your ongoing support. Cindy Palacios, thank you, Cindy, as always, my long-time follower, greatly appreciated. And that's the channel members at the moment. As I said, they're getting lost like a pro. They're at that tier, but there are 3 different tiers. I have some patrons, so patreon.com/boardnow, as I said. And this includes ones that are at the starter tier. So this was a nice idea that patrons started I think it was last year, but the idea is then you don't actually have to donate any money. You can just get access to certain content and take part in certain things, like I think polls you can take part in, and you don't actually have to pay. You can just become a free patron. So that's a nice option if you can't maybe afford to commit to monthly donations. But my patrons at the moment are Justin Glass, thank you Justin, Nicholas Woodall, another long-term patron and follower of my channel, thank you very much Nicholas, Alison M. Fordyce, thank you Alison for all your support and encouragement and being very enthusiastic and taking part in things. And Becca's also a patron. Thank you very much, Becca, for your support and for being a good friend. Custru is a channel member. I hope I said that right, but thank you, Custru. Mary J is also a channel member. Thank you very much, Mary J. Rachel McDonald, once again, is a sorry, I said that wrong. I said channel member. I meant to say patron. So Mary J is a patron and Rachel McDonald once again is a patron. So thank you very much, Rachel. And another familiar name making a second appearance is Cindy Palacios. So Cindy is also a patron. I'm confusing myself now, guys, but thanks very much, because the channel wouldn't be possible without you guys. So I'm going to go now. Let me know what you guys think of the new Nightmare on Elm Street news, what you think of Spaceballs 2 and the poster which came out yesterday, or anything else which I mentioned. Thanks everyone, keep watching horror movies, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.